everyone. Once again, you are tuned into the Iconist podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm one of your hosts, Barry 3D Carter. You know the name, you know the game. Here it goes. If you want to see where I'm at, check the link down below at Barry 3D Carter. And this way you can find all the links and anything we're doing for this show, anything I'm doing solo, and anything I'm doing with my boys. So what I mean by that is I do stand-up comedy all over. You want to see where I'm going to be at next? Barry3D.com. Check out the tour dates. Can't go wrong. Come out, support. I'm all over Ontario and Quebec. You know, come out, say hi. Let's talk comics when I'm done the show, before the show, when after, and even during the show. I throw in some jokes. Right. When I say I do things with the boys, I'm talking with the group I'm a part of, my comedy group I'm a part of there, which is called A Touch of Gray Matter. We are going to finally, at one point, get back to some videos, but we have a bunch of videos on our YouTube channel. Check them out. The link is down below. And that's myself with Zulf Ali and that madman I love so much, Dave Sokolowski. Right on. And always keep an eye out for what Dave is doing, because he does a lot of fundraisers, for the homeless, anything along those lines, food banks and all that with the widow's son. So please, if you want to donate, it's not even something for me. That's more his project that he does. And we help out with that with the comedy and give comedy, and you guys give something back, and always come out, support the shows, have a good laugh, support a great cause. So want to say that Touch of Gray Matter, once again, myself, Zulf Ali, and Dave Sokolowski. Now, on that note, we also want to give a big shout out to another friend of ours, Brandy Ford, who does The Writer and the Witch. She has her monthly subscription magazine. See the link down below. Please subscribe. You'll find our ads in there for this show, the Iconist podcast, and A Touch of Gray Matter, along with other things going on around the area. So she's very witty as a writer in the witch. She's got a lot going on. She also performs comedy herself too. So give her a shout. Check her out. That's the bottom line right there. And if you too said, I want to change my life, I want to do something different, don't know what to do, you want to start a project, you too can start a podcast. And if you go on to podbean.com, it's one of the cheaper ones that has all the things that you need to start up your own podcast from scratch. And it makes it so simple for you. We are on there also. So you can find us at iconis.podbean.com. Can't miss it out. It's definitely, if you want to do podcasting, it's the easiest way to go. And I know we do have this show on YouTube too, but we do both for everybody. Yes. Almost done. Like usual. I don't do this show alone. Why? There's nothing better to do a show with a friend, but what happens if that friend is even family? That makes it even that much better. So I am blessed twice over, because I got one of my best friends and my cousin on my side. The man, the myth, the legend, the one that's going to make you dance all night so you got blisters on your feet and the heels come off. You understand that? With your hands are up in the air and you're coming out with your shirt different colors because it's drenched in hot sweat. I'm talking about the one and only
DJ Rod C. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Iconist. You know me. I'm not going to say it. You can read it.
Ain't gonna say
it's around there.
That's DJ Rod C. That's my cousin, Mr. Rod C. And Rod, let the people know where they can find you when they need to find you, because I know, before you even say anything, you don't show up one time a week to DJ. You don't show up 2 times a week to DJ. You show up 3 or more times a week to DJ virtually.
Yes, on the world of Twitch. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me on the world of Twitch at twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. Oh, but I digress. You also can find me on the Instagram. And on the Instagram, you can find me at Mr. Rod C. So MRRODC. You can find me there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to have some fun tonight. I just keep, you know what? I always bring the fun, the vibes, the enjoyment online. So if you always want to have a party, pass through. You can find me on Twitch. Say, hey, I saw you, Icona. I saw you, Icona. I saw you. Welcome in. Get this person a virtual drink. Yes, virtual drink, because I'm not balling like that just yet.
Yeah, exactly. If you really want to catch favor with Rod, you just turn around and say, hey, man, what's Saturday Love?
Oh, what's Saturday Love? Well, I'll tell you what Saturday Love is. Again, hilarious as you say that. Yeah, I had to drop that the other day. I'm like saying, he's not here right now. Favorite song. It's his favorite song. I was playing it. I was like,
the best song ever.
This guy he loves a Saturday night.
I love my Saturday Love, man. That's Alexander O'Neal and Sherelle. Come on now. That was a power duo. Jeez. Forget Jay-Z and Beyonce. No disrespect. I'm just saying.
He's just saying.
Sherelle Alexander O'Neill. That boy was almost the lead singer of the time with Morris Day. And Morris Day used to play drums. If you didn't know, now you know. All right. And then all of a sudden, Alex was asking for too much money and craziness. Prince said, hit the high road. And he looked at Morris and said, Morris, you ain't on drums no more. You now lead singer. And he got bumped up. And now we got Morris Day in the time. We almost had Alexander O'Neill in the time. But you see what greed got you? Got to think about the big picture. So that's what it is. But we still got that great song, Saturday Love. Woo! For always and forever, you will be my Saturday love. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday love. All right, we know we can't sing. That's cool. All right, maybe Rod can sing. I can't sing, but I can dance.
You can dance. You can dance. You can dance.
I can dance if I want to. And really don't stand behind. Oh yeah, I'll do my safety dance. Right on. Okay. I can do the Humpty dance. Okay, I'm good. Right.
Right,
so
cool.
You can see Rod on Twitch. Rod's also on TikTok. He's on Instagram. You can find Rod everywhere. And look, you know what? For anybody, just look around. You'll be surprised. Rod comes out live and DJs live at a lot of events. So roll through.
Roll through. Roll through.
Roll
what?
through.
Roll out. Roll out.
Roll out.
Enough about me and my craziness. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to give you some fun. But first, we still got one more person to address.
Ooh, that's right, as usual.
Who that may be.
We're going to address the unseen member, the one that makes us look even prettier than we can be on our own. We can't do it without him. Now, if you got Podbean, you got YouTube, but you got to have what? You got to have a template. You got to have a logo. You got to have a look. You got to be you got to dress up. You got to present yourself, son. You got to dust off the shoulders and make yourself look good. Styling like Morris Day would, man. With shoulder pads and everything. And the thing goes it goes like this. If you got a product, you care about your product, and you want someone to care about you and your product, you got to turn to our boy, and he will hook you up. And if you mention that you heard about him here on the Iconist podcast, he will give you a discount on any work you need done. And that's not even anything comic book related. We're talking from calendars, the signs, the logos, for anything front facing for your business, the banners, the t-shirts, the pens, the everything, anything you can put something on, he got you covered. You know why? Because he's done it already. So he's done it for us. He's done it for Touch of Gray Matter. He's done it for Tommy Dreamer, the wrestler. Yes, the wrestler. He's a huge wrestling fan. Go back and watch our Vinnie Mac episode. You'll see him. Rod, let him know who we talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about J. Bird Digital Arts.
J. Bird Digital Arts, Jason Reese, tell him you heard about here on the Iconist podcast. He'll give you a discount. Woo! Woo! Styling, profile, woo! Limousine riding. Woo! You might not have a limousine. I know I don't, but he makes it look like I have one. So thank you, Jay.
Nice.
All right. Today's episode. Rod, this is one of your picks. Who are we talking about today, Rod?
We are talking about a very unique individual. We're in the world of Marvel. Who we will be talking about is an individual by the name of Magik. Illyana Rasputina. Sorry, I'm always gonna do that. But this individual, Magik. You mean like little pull a bunny out of the hat, Magik? A little sprinkle, little fairy dust magic.
Magic.
Woo!
Okay, I'm good. Okay, I'm over caffeinated again. I don't care. I'm
okay?
excited.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I'm good. Let's do it. Magic.
All right. So we're gonna talk about magic.
Yeah, Illyana Rasputin. Rasputin. That's her name. Yes, Magik from Marvel. Now, Illyana, for who knows. For some of you all might not go, who's Illyana? We have no idea. Well, here's a hint. I'm wearing my X-Men shirt. So we know she's got to be somewhere based in that realm, in that sphere of X-Men.
That is right.
We told you her name's Magik. And I'm surprised by a lot of things by this character. That she gets her appearances. She's part of storylines. But I thought she would be like a big swinger within that realm, and I think they missed the boat. I'm going to tell you why in a bit, why I think they missed the boat. They messed up with Magik. I'm going to tell you why. I think Marvel, you missed the boat with Magik. I like Magik, so I'm not saying any, no shade on Magik. I'm thinking Marvel, You had something and you missed. Harry. Okay, all right. So yes, we are talking about Illyana Rasputin. Okay, and we're gonna break down some of her appearances. Like usual, we'll let you know where she came from. So Illyana Rasputin, her first appearance was in 1975. So in May of 1975, in Giant X-Men issue number 1. That issue, X-Men, has done so much for what the X-Men world is today. So before this, the original team of X-Men was Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Iceman, Angel, and Beast before he had the blue fur. Okay? Right. They went through their adventures, and the X-Men comics got to a certain point, and at one point they seemed to stop, so they kind of started repeating the adventures and reformatting. So that's how they got almost to 100 issues or 100 issues. And then at one point, they said, we got to give this another shot in the arm because sales are going low and had to bring it back. So they, of course, they introduced the classic characters, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Magneto, yada, yada, yada. But then individual Chris Claremont came on board, said, aha, I have light.
I have an idea.
And he did Giant Size X-Men issue number 1, which is almost like X-Men issue 100, whatever, if you ever want to look at it, right? Back in 1975. And in there, we got the introduction of Wolverine. We got Nightcrawler. We got Storm, Sunfire, Thunderbird. And I'm saying introduction. These are the first time these characters are, really, well, not Wolverine, but all the other characters appeared, right? Wolverine appeared in, and I'll dispute this. A lot of people say he appeared in Hulk issue number 181, but his first appearance was in issue 180 because he shows up on the very last page of Hulk 180. And then you see him in action in 181. So that was really his debut was 180. Mm-hmm. Comic book was 181. All right. So then that was the new X-Men. That's how they came. They formed, and they put that team together. Now, of course, the old X-Men, so you had the old and new there. But the whole thing is Charles Xavier's X-Men, the original X-Men that I mentioned, right? Team 1, which is, the original one, the 5 I mentioned off there, Cyclops, Iceman, Angel, Beast, and Marvel Girl, pretty much got kidnapped. Oh no! By the evil island of Krakoa. Oh no! Cyclops makes it back. His eye beams are not working. He's all tattered and closed. Xavier, what's going on? He's like, oh, geez, I had other mutants I was monitoring. I will, summon them, and we have to go back and save the X-Men. He's like, yes, let's do this. Form the new team. And he goes around showing up in people's minds, showing up there, and recruiting them. That's how he saves Nightcrawler from a mob. And there's a couple of reasons I'll mention Nightcrawler. So he saves Nightcrawler from a mob. He goes to the Canadian government and says, hey, Wolverine, I want him to bring him on board. And Wolverine quits Department H, which leads to him always trying to get, taken back by Canada. Oh, Canada, we nice until you take what we have.
One of ours.
One of ours, exactly.
I'm back.
And that leads into the whole Alpha Flight storylines with Department H, with Wolverine, the Weapon X program. All right. Then, Sunfire, okay, he goes visit Sunfire. Sunfire's like, I don't want to bother this, but, I'll help you out, Xavier. He goes to get Thunderbird. Thunderbird's like, okay, look, you know what, man, I'm not down with you guys because you don't help out my tribe. You've totally forgot my Apaches. I think it's part of the Apaches. Like, forgive me if I'm wrong. I'll research it. We'll do an episode on Thunderbird. I'll clarify that.
We should, yeah.
Right.
Nice, yeah.
So, yeah. So then, Thunderbird, and he says no. And then Charles kind of gets him going and riled up. And he goes, all right, you know what? I'll help you, show you how strong I am because you got me wrong. He goes and sees Sean Cassidy, who was a Banshee at the time, retired Interpol agent, recruits him. And then he goes, and I'm not saying it happens in this order, but these are the people he recruits. And then he goes over to the, Mother Russia, USSR, 99 Luftballons. I don't even know if that's Russian or German. Okay, forget it. He gets over there, and he goes over to Russia, and he sees, Colossus and Peter, Pietro, Rasputin. And his introduction and everyone's introduction is, Pietro is out in the field because his family works on a farm. So you got him. He's in just overalls, a hat, and t-shirt. Looks very bulky because he worked on a farm his whole life. And then the tractor starts kind of going, and it starts to just running away. And he runs as quick as he can because the tractor is aimed for his little baby sister who's playing in the field with her dolls, just minding her business. And he jumps in front and then turns into Colossus. So he gets all armored up. The tractor hits him. Boom! Saves the sister.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the introduction to Illyana Rasputin in X-Men Giant Size #1, 1975 in May. That's when we first meet her. She's just a little girl, minding her business, playing with dolls.
Don't know what's going on. Just chilling in the fields.
Yeah, just sitting there, and she looks up to her big brother. Her big brother saved her life. Her big brother was very protective of her. The family turns around and says, "Hey, Colossus, you know what? The government's going to come by here. They're going to wonder what happened to the tractor. They're going to ask questions. It's best if you leave to protect you because, your brother was taken as a cosmonaut. We don't know what happened to him. He died. We don't want to lose you. We rather know you're an American alive than staying here and, taken in by the KGB.
Right.
Just leave." So he goes. But Illyana stays behind, obviously, because she had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's her first introduction. We get to Illyana Rasputin. 1 page, 2 pages. That's all we get from this character. Right. But because she was so young, in my mind, she's a legacy character.
100%. 100%.
Right? She's a legacy character. That's where she started, okay?
She's canon. She's canon. She
was there in Giant Size X-Men issue #1. Please I'm telling you that right now. Put a check mark on your reading list. It's very important reading. So that's by the time we've done this episode, I'm going to compile a quick reading list for you. That's one. Right on. And now we're going to move on. So now, the next time we don't see her for a while. All right. Goes on. And now when she was brought in, that first appearance, as Illyana Rasputin was by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum. So Dave Cockrum was, these are the guys who created the new X-Men. They wrote it. They kind of came up with it. So sorry, my apologies. It wasn't Chris Claremont at that moment. It was Dave Cockrum, and he has other books that I like, and Len Wein. So they, wrote it. All right. Okay, got it. Cool. Moving on. Mm. Now we go years later. They bring her in because Peter still kind of writes home to his family. So the other time is, when they give a little bit of backstory, Peter writes home to his parents, say, "How's it going? How's my sister doing? Everything okay? Tell her I miss her. I love her. Big brother's always here for her." Cool. Time goes on. So now we go into, that was Giant Size X-Men issue #1. Then it kind of continues the numbering. So we get to X-Men issue 145. Put that on your reading list. Right? So you got X-Men, Giant X-Men issue #1, and then Uncanny X-Men issue #145. And that's where Illyana shows up again. So at this point, she's like, about maybe 7 years old or so.
Yeah, 6, 7.
6, 7. Right? She shows up. She's there. And the whole storyline in this is the assassin Arcade gets kidnapped. And the Arcade has 2 people that work with him. I can't remember her name, but she works with Arcade and says, "Oh, geez, he got kidnapped. I want the X-Men to save Arcade because that's my partner, almost love interest." So she kidnapped Illyana Rasputin.
Crazy.
Colossus at that time. Sorry, go on, Rod.
No. I'm just, I'll just throw in the pepper, man. Like, are you crazy?
She nuts, man. She unbalanced. I mean, Colossus turns into like organic armor. Okay, he gets extremely strong. When I say extremely strong, at the time, I think they were grading him at that time about the 75 to 80 ton that he can lift in that form, and he's gotten stronger since.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not slow, even though he's fast. That's the thing is everyone says everyone's so amazed how fast he can move, how fast he can run, how so he's got a high dexterity. Let's put that in Dungeons and Dragons terms, right? Even in armored form, he's got a high dexterity with fluid movement.
Because it's basically organic metal. Basically, his skin turns into metal form. So he is organic metal. So that's why he has the dexterity to just move. The fluency, he can still do whatever he's doing. He's constantly shielded up when he goes into armor mode. It basically is organic steel. So that's another reason why. It may be heavy in that sense, but he can move.
He can move. She's crazy. Let me tell you something. If I had the power of Colossus, and I was minding my business, and someone says to me, "Hey, so and so got kidnapped. By the way, I kidnapped your co-host, your cousin." I'm like, "Yo!" With my hot temper,
armor up.
Okay, that's all I got to say. With my hot temper, and superpowers.
Armor up.
And y'all see me laughing on here, but I got a bad attitude at moments. In a situation like that, that's gonna bring up the wrong side of me. Let me tell.
Barry
no.
3D. Dark and dangerous. Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah.
We're about to feel the pain.
I've been playing Method Man Bring the Pain the whole time with MOP, Ante Up. That'd be my playlist. And I'd walk in there and I'd be like Radio Raheem, where he's got like hate and love. He'd be like Bring and Pain. That would be it on my knuckles.
That would be, it'd just be, Russell Peters, someone's going to get the hurt real bad. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
I would be the black-balled iron version of Stone Cold Steve Austin. You will hear glass breaking along with bones. So anyways, they kidnap his sister. She kidnaps his sister to get the X-Men to help have them go up and fight Dr. Doom to get back Arcade.
Foolish mortals.
Yeah, Colossus didn't think twice about that one.
No, for sure.
Right. So that's Uncanny X-Men issue number 145. So you see her come back. She's about, as I said, 6 or 7. Now, we're not done. The third major piece you need to read is X-Men, and this really starts it off. X-Men, Uncanny X-Men issue 160. Because in this, you get Belasco, if I mispronounced it, the demon from Limbo comes over and kidnaps Illyana along with Kitty Pryde. Stupid.
Foolish mortal.
Stupid. Let me tell you why he's stupid. Okay. Now, this is a Magik episode. Don't get me wrong. I'm just giving you the backstory. So, Illyana is Colossus' sister. Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, Sprite, whatever name she's going by, is like Colossus' love interest girlfriend. You just took the two most important people
in his life
to Colossus, and you expect to walk away.
Foolish mortal.
Okay, so the X-Men do go in, of course, into Limbo. They make their way there, right? That's the new X-Men. So that's like, keep in mind, that's like Cyclops. Wow. Okay. That, you got Xavier on the home front, but that's Cyclops. That's Storm, Colossus, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Banshee. Is Banshee there? No, Banshee wouldn't be there. Not at this point. Right. But that's the core. And they're going in there to Limbo to get two of their own. It's about to go down. They do what they need to do. Come back. Now, here's the key moment where things flip. They come out of Limbo. So they got Kitty frozen. Belasco's there. He's like, okay, got you all. Fight, whatever. They escape. When they're escaping, they go through the portal. They come back into, let's say Earth Realm. Earth Realm. They come back, like Mortal Kombat. They come back to Earth Realm out of Limbo. And at one point, they're coming through. Kitty's there. Everyone's there. And Belasco turns around and he grabs Illyana and pulls her back in. And Kitty jumps and puts her hands in the portal, grabs onto Illyana. And as they're doing this tug of war power struggle, and the whole team's pulling on her. So she's not going to let go. And comes the portal, is Illyana.
But
she's aged 7 years.
What just happened? What just happened there? Please explain.
So keep in mind, Belasco pulled her in. Katie jumped over right away, turned around, got her hands. In a split second, they weren't together. And then she got her, pulled her out. She's aged 7 years. Now that's Uncanny X-Men issue 160. At this point, Chris Claremont, Sal Buscemi, turn around and come up with an idea for a character. That character's name is Magik. And this is now the story of Magik. And she starts off with her own 4-issue miniseries. So before any of the New Mutants had their book, she had a book. 4-issue miniseries, and explains, in that 4-issue miniseries, it explains what happened in those split seconds when Belasco pulls her into Limbo, Kitty jumps over, reaches for her, feels the hands, and pulls her out. Because in our reality here on Earthrealm, finish him, it was mere seconds. But in Limbo, it was 7 years that passed. Illyana grew. She became a woman. And just like every Rasputin, she developed powers. And her powers were opening portals. So she can open portals and walk through and teleport anywhere, great distances, and through time. That's her power. But we all forget that's her power because she was trained in magic. So Belasco turned around, had her in Limbo, and wanted to train her, and he gave her like a pendant and a little bit of her blood to make these bloodstones, and taught her all the ways of magic. In that 7 years, she became she was his main focus. She was a student. She studied and soaked up everything because there's really no one else her age except little demons running around. She had a hard life living there under a demon, but she learned because he wanted to bring her about to raise her as a sacrifice. And she said, "Oh no, I'm going to turn the tables on you." And she went and explained what happened. So she learned magic, and in that whole experience, she got different powers. She became like and she's got the title of Sorcerer Supreme of Limbo. Right, not of Earthrealm, but Limbo. And she turned around and got those powers. Okay, and the manifestation of her powers is one thing, which is not, and it's not the only thing, but the main thing everyone sees is the Soul Sword. She uses her essence to make this giant sword that can cut through anything. It can even cut Kitty Pryde when she's intangible.
Let that sink in for a second, because we know Kitty Pryde has the ability to phase through. And if you don't know Kitty Pryde, she has Shadowcat, basically has the ability to just phase through. So basically it's like, in a sense, Ghost, Sprite. She had different names that were so Shadowcat, Sprite at one time, given that type of, untangible kind of walk through like a ghost. Oh my God, you're here. Oh my gosh, you're not here type of scenario.
Yep. She can make herself so intangible, she can walk on air. Literally.
So, to reference back, so there's a piece of hardware that can actually cut the untouchable.
Yes.
We'll just stay right here.
Yes.
I'll just stay right here.
That has nothing to do with her mutant ability. Her mutant ability is just opening portals. But everyone in the X-Men, New Mutants, no matter who she teams up with, rely more on her for her magic abilities as opposed for her mutant abilities, because this one is outshone the other one, even though she's called Magic. So to give you a breakdown, she has her soul sword, where she can turn around and that's her essence, and she can use it to cut through anything. And then as time has gone on, that sword has gone from a long rapier kind of sword to a Final Fantasy Cloud 7 kind of sword with a big thick blade that she has. And then the more she uses her magic powers, she gets armor, almost like not like her brother, but it actually looks like old school medieval armor. And you always see it. It starts on her arm. So she'll get like a metallic glove all the way up one arm, and then she'll get like one shoulder pad of that armor. And that, it's bullet resistant and, extreme temperatures and so forth, hot, cold. But that's just the touch of it. The more she uses her magic powers, the more the armor covers her body. And then the more she uses her magic powers, she gets this other aspect of her personality called the Dark Child, where she gets horns coming out the top of her head. Well, it's going to come out anyplace else, or you get horns, what's on your head, right? So she gets horns. She gets cloven feet. So from the knee down, she's got cloven feet, and that's the Dark Child persona. Her eyes go totally red, no irises, just, the pupils red. She gets fangs.
So here's a nice little transition. If you're not familiar with the image, if you've ever seen Hellboy, if you've ever seen the movie Hellboy, comic book as well, but definitely for those who may not have seen the comic book, if you've seen the movie Hellboy, at a certain point when he just goes basically all glazed as though he is now the Demon King, and he has the fiery horn coming out and everything along that line, just kind of picture that kind of going to the dark side, becoming a Sith Lord.
Yes.
That's what she becomes.
Yes.
Troubles afoot. Cloven foot, but troubles afoot.
Troubles
I'm
afoot.
just saying. Cloven foot. But
seriously. Sorry. So, as I said, as Illyana Rasputin, May 1975. As Magik, December of 1983.
Mm-hmm.
Almost shy of 10 years of this character and her transformation. Then she goes back and deals with Belasco for kidnapping her, and she takes over Limbo. Done. She got rid of him. She got rid of the Lord of Limbo and took over Limbo. She didn't take over a continent. She didn't take over a castle. She didn't take over a vehicle. She took over all of Limbo. Like, it's the equivalent of if someone took over all of Earth. And they know, they don't dispute that she's a leader. They all know she's a leader. They know the demons in Limbo say we can't beat her. Even when she's not in Limbo, it's like, you gonna plot against her? Nope. And then she has her sidekick demon / bodyguard, the one that, used to be Belasco's bodyguard, because he's there as the station. So he's the bodyguard for whoever rules Limbo. And that's Sim, S''YM. So he's appointed as the guardian of whoever sits on the throne. Let's put it that way. It's almost like Gladiator with Lilandra. Doesn't matter who's leading the Shi'ar. Gladiator stays in his role as the Imperial Guard because he's honor bound to the throne, regardless who sits on it and if he agrees with them or not. That's his role. Same thing with Sim. Even though Sim does try to backstab her, and then she puts him in his place hard. So that's the reading homework there. If you want to really go from Illyana, the turning points to her, to Magik, and then this also leads later on to Colossus' own journey, where he stops, where Colossus decides to cure, or he's a cure for the legacy virus that's killing off the mutants. It's because something happens with her. Oh, I say something. I mean, she passes away, and he gets motivated because she died from the legacy virus. So he has the cure, but it needs to go into a body of a mutant for it to spread. And he sacrifices his life to do it. Of course, it's Marvel. No one dies forever. Don't worry. Illyana, Colossus, they're back. Okay, we good. But that's there's a lot more meat on that sandwich, as I like to say, there. So that's me about Illyana. So and Magik. And I like Magik because she's up there with a level of Doctor Strange. She's the Sorcerer Supreme of Limbo. When they were looking for another Sorcerer Supreme for Earth after Strange was gone, she was on the short list.
Listen, I'll
hit me with it, Rod.
I'll say this for Illyana. She's a very unique character in regards to the lore of Colossus. We now seen, and I'm still even waiting for Colossus integrating from Deadpool into the X-Men movies that's coming up. I hope they're able to make that. But when you see Colossus, you see that he's the big teddy bear. He's a simple. He is a simple-minded guy in the sense that he likes peace and like tranquility and stuff like that. But like that, sorry, but like Barry said earlier, you cross the line with him. You're now poking the Russian bear. You're poking, bing, bing, because metal skin. Yeah, you're gonna get yourself messed up. So Illyana is to me, she's a unique one because she's that one that can always calm him down if need be. She's the one who whenever he goes and flares up kind of scenario. But I like her because when she is older now and she's now the leader, or she's basically the source of freedom of Limbo, you start to see the characteristics of her that when she let herself go to become when the powers were taking over and everything along that line, you start to see that the dark child out of her, that persona was coming out in full swing. That she was literally someone not to mess with at all. That's what I like about this character, because this character was an individual who just basically showed that she grew in age in Limbo, but everybody at the beginning had to understand and reflect to realize like they're not looking at little 7-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old Illyana. And they're now realizing you're a young person, because when she came back, she was too old, she was too young for the X-Men's team, and I believe they just started the New Mutants at that time.
Yeah, she was too young to join the X-Men team because
they
didn't know how to take her, because like in their minds she was 7. So like they keep in mind, maybe I missed this point. I'll say this real quick and I'll let you go on. When Belasco pulled her into Limbo, 7 years went by. When Kitty Pryde put her hands in there, so if you read that 4-issue miniseries, she gets pulled into Limbo. Okay, the X-Men are not there. She goes through all her adventures, her lifespan, and then she sees a pair of hands finally come in to grab her, and she reaches for these hands and at the end of like issue 4 kind of thing, and they pull her out. So for the X-Men, only a couple of seconds passed that she was gone. Right? Because keep in mind, he pulls her in. Oh no! Kitty jumps over, puts her hands in. Okay, wait a minute, I got her. Pulls her out. You're set. You're 14? You're 13, 14?
Yeah.
So they had a hard time even grasping it, and also the psychological aspects of it, because what happened to her in those 7 years at that time, keep in mind time frames now, right? She experienced more in that gap of 7 years of hardship, heartache, trials and tribulations than Colossus did at the time, because Colossus was not on the X-Men team for 7 years. So she went through life fast forward. Some things will be off with her because she hasn't had human interaction in all that time. She's just hung out with demons.
Well, there's demons, and there's actually some individuals, if I remember correctly, in Limbo, while she was there for the 7 years. Yes, she was being trained by Belasco in the world of dark magic, right? And there was a certain time that after she escaped from him, and under Sim and everything along that line, she came across an individual who was their version of Storm.
Yes.
Who was helping her practice white magic.
Yes.
So basically giving her the good and the bounty, good angle, the good end, the good side of magic, and saying like, that's dark magic, we're going to go on white magic. So I'm going to show you the good magic and how you can help yourself and basically rewrite everything that you learned. So again, this also helps out to the level of being the Sorcerer Supreme. She knows both sides. Even if you go with Doctor Strange, he knows the both sides of dark magic and good magic. That's why he can have the understanding of calling himself the Sorcerer Supreme versus being half a Supreme, because he only knows what side type of scenario.
That's it. It's like even one of the storylines with Luke Skywalker, where he was always raised with the Force, but then he wanted to learn the dark side. And if you read Dark Empire 2, that was done by, I can't remember, Dark Horse Comics. Yeah, Dark Horse Comics, that miniseries. He goes willingly to the dark side. So yes, you're right. She learns both sides, and she learns it from a Storm, from a different dimension, because with her disc, she's able to go into alternate reality. She's that gateway to alternate realities, and also, as I said, time travel if she wants to. So Storm, and so there was a Storm in Limbo, and that's a funny thing I just thought of, is that Storm was the mother figure to Illyana in another universe.
Right.
She was the grandmother figure to Bishop. She was a mother figure to Kitty Pryde.
Yes.
Okay. And I think she somewhat took on that role with Rogue when Rogue came onto the team at one point, because Rogue was a little bit younger. Right. So she's always been the mother figure. But Marvel, you never gave Storm a kid. I think that's the miss, right? I'm talking mainstream. I'm talking 616 universe, right? That Storm and T'Challa, to me, they should I didn't want them to get them to separate the two, and they should have had a kid. It would have been like that cartoon, the New Avengers, or Avengers Next, or I can't remember the name of all the kids from the Avengers team, but one of them was Storm, and T'Challa had a son and he had a combination of both their powers, which was sick.
Mhm.
So anyways, not to get off topic, but Storm fits that role for a lot of people, regardless of what dimension she's in. So even if you get an alternate version of Storm, she still has the same core motherly instincts that, you know, are very common with Storm on Nephra aspects, right?
Mhm.
So you're right. So she had Storm teaching her about white magic. And then they also had Dark Beast from a different dimension, and he was there too. And well, she dealt with him very harshly. Let's just say that. So she's, as I said, to me, Magik is an interesting character in the sense that she's got a lot of history. So you got the good side of Magik, you got the magic side of Magik, you got the mutant side of Magik, and then you have the Dark Child side of Magik, which is supposed to fulfill a legacy, which I haven't seen come to fruition yet. Which there's so much to do with Magik that I don't think you need to put Magik on a team. You could just let Magik be Magik. Now,
100%.
yeah. What and I'll let you go, but this is what I was saying before in the beginning of the episode where I think Marvel missed the boat. DC, and I'm not trying to say one place is over the other. I like them both. And I like all comics. This is why we do this show. So DC turned around and they said, okay, well, we got Justice League International, Justice League of America, whatever. And then they did something that was cool. They did Justice League Dark.
Right.
Which handled anything magic based. Like Batman realized that they need a team that, even though he doesn't really understand magic, it's there. Need someone to help combat it. Better have a team that I can keep an eye on and do it. And that is where I think the X-Men missed the mark, because you got X-Men, you had Red Team, Gold Team. Okay, you got X-Force, X-Factor. X-Factor is supposed to be part of the government, and that was their facade. Or no, first X-Factor was mutant hunters, but they're really mutants. And then it was X-Factor were, you know, the mutant team sponsored by the government, right? Run by Havoc at that time. Okay. Then you had X-Force, which was a New Mutants, changed to X-Force. You know, and Cable was running that team, and it was a Black Ops team, and it still is a Black Ops team. Their motto is, hey, we know that person's a bad guy. Let's get them before they get us. Why do we always have to react when someone attacks us? We know they're bad guys. Okay, take them. Right? Like, don't wait, just take them. Right. Okay, and that's X-Force's model. So that being said, how come there's not an X-Men Magic division? And that's why I think they missed the mark.
I hear you.
Because there's so much magic in the Marvel universe that here's a couple of things. I know it just happened now, but I think this should have happened before. Illyana should have teamed up with the Scarlet Witch. Both magic users, both mutants, troubled past, they would have a lot more in common than they don't. That it would be cool to see them two team up for a miniseries, a couple of issues.
Okay.
In someone's book, right? I mean, Scarlet Witch, even though she's with the Avengers, she's linked to the X-Men world. Okay. And I'll let you go. And then my last point is Nightcrawler. So depending on what story you want to go with Nightcrawler, we all know that Nightcrawler's mom is Mystique. Okay. But then we know Nightcrawler's dad, well, who Mystique married was this Baron. But then who was his biological father was a demon. And that's why Nightcrawler has the appearance of 3 fingers, 3 toes, and a tail. The blue skin comes from his mom. The pointy ears and all that comes from his dad. The teleportation, he's a mutant. Okay, got it. But when Nightcrawler teleports, if you understand Nightcrawler, he doesn't so much per se teleport one place to the other. He leaves our realm, goes through another realm, and then comes out. And they explain that in X-Men Evolution even more so. So if you slow him down, he goes through almost like a demon realm. And this is why every time he teleports, when he comes on the other side, even though it's like 2 seconds, he comes on the other side, he smells of sulfur. So you're trying to tell me that they couldn't put magic, especially with Nightcrawler's beliefs in Christianity. So, because all the characters that look like demons have a light side. You could have put Illyana, Nightcrawler, and Wanda together for a couple Avengers?
That would have been. Hopefully, we'll have to do some research on them. Hopefully, they would have at least done 1 or 2 episodes. Adventures. That couldn't have. If you can't, it's hard for me to believe because you're saying it, and it makes so much sense. Like that's right there in front of you. Like how can you have not tie that together? Now, in regards of having the dark team and everything like that, that would definitely be under the X-Men.
Oh yeah.
Frame kind of scenario.
Yeah.
So, talking about like with Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange is, considered the Sorcerer Supreme of the Earth realm, So would he work with the Sorcerer Supreme of Limbo realm? I don't see why not, but again, maybe there's some,
Only
I'm
if
sure
something
they'll have
unites them. Only if there's a threat.
Listen,
Look.
you can even see it in if you want another shot. I actually was I picked it up just not that long ago. A versus X, and you'll
Yes.
see there's actually something that Magic was about to go to something, and Cap like say, Steven, don't worry, I got her, and went to her realm, and he's like, being Steven, like, yeah, I don't know why you would have tried to fight me, Elena, because I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. I don't think you're that crazy. And she said, no, I actually thought I didn't realize you were that crazy to actually fall for my ploy. And basically, you don't realize that afterwards that she defeated him, and with her magical powers, made the illusion that they look like each other. So it made it look like Steven came back with a limp Magic in his arms.
Oh no.
In reality, it was really Magic holding a limp Steven in her arms.
Doctor Strange. Wow.
Doctor Strange in arm. That's how powerful and she overtook him. And that's what she's saying. I really didn't even think you were going to actually fall for the ploy and come back to my realm. Okay. Let's dance, son. Let's dance.
Exactly. I'll even do you one better.
Hmm.
So take all the people I just mentioned, right? So that's Nightcrawler, that's Wanda, that's Magik, and I'm told this is more Magic based, right? Like, Illyana, Rasputin.
Mm-hmm.
And throw in Forge. Everyone knows Forge as, if he thinks he can build it.
Right.
But Forge is a magic user. He's got like shaman magic, you know what I mean? Shaman magic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he's a mutant. So, and he's on the X-Men, X Factor, whoever it is he's dealing with at the time. He's one of these characters kind of floats around, but he does have magic that he's used in the past. Now here's the thing with Illyana Rasputin, they deal more with her and her magic persona and her powers than they do with her with a teleportation disc. Mm-hmm. And with Forge, they use more his mutant powers as opposed to some of the magic that he knows.
Right.
Put them four together on a team and then let them loose and see what happens with 100%. X-Men dealing with magic things, because we know there's villains out there that use magic, like Doctor Strange. Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom. Well, listen, throw Shaman from
Alpha Flight.
Throw him in there. Let him just come down to New York for a little while. Something happens. With our powers combined,
right?
And
even his daughter Talisman. Yeah, even his daughter Talisman from Alpha Flight. Shaman's daughter from Talisman. Okay, there we go. Shaman's daughter Talisman from Alpha. So there's a lot there within it. There's a lot more magic than probably people realize in the X-Men universe. And I'm saying X-Men universe. I know they're part of Marvel, but if you took the X-Men characters, their storylines and all that and put it in one bubble, there's a lot of magic that happens already with who they have and who they got to deal with. And Magik would be the key person for me with the amount of experience, because she's got more experience because of Limbo. She got the jump start on a lot of people than they have. Like, she's dangerous. I mean, she took out Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme. Oh, you came to Limbo? Okay, let's dance.
Bam. Exactly. So that's to show you the power level that this individual have. And we're introducing, I've been saying it for the last, for our last amount of characters we've been talking about, with the introduction of Doctor Strange,
yes,
mystical arts, with the introduction now of X-Men and so forth. Literally, there's an opportunity to just slither her right in between. She can just come in right, like, I don't know if I can think off the top of my head. You have X-Men. I can't really immediately think what other X-Men character that they can, in that lore, in that realm that you can bring in right after X-Men. But if anything, if Magic should be so close there, because at that top you're gonna have Colossus. If you're gonna do the first team or the second team, we're already doing Colossus out of Deadpool. So now Deadpool is becoming canon in the Marvel universe. So if Deadpool is canon, let's roll the dice and assume that he's gonna make some reference back to the mansion, make reference to Colossus. So Colossus is going to be part of that universe. It'll be, it'll be heartbroken if they don't allow Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, to make any reference back to his own quote unquote world realm,
Yes.
Fox world
Yes.
to make some reference on there. And if you do that, you know how he's buddy, chimichanga buddies with Colossus.
Right.
So we're gonna bring Colossus in. So if you bring Colossus in, ding 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 ding, Rasputina is now canon. You got Pietro. Let's bring in Illyana in here.
Well, I say Peter. So it's Peter. Sorry, I keep saying Pietro. Pietro's Quicksilver. So it's Peter. Sorry, it's Peter Rasputin. Sorry, I'm getting so confused. Yeah, but Pietro. I think it's Pietro also.
It's still Pietro.
All right.
But yeah, the fact that you have it right there. So I would definitely like to see this character in there because again, oh Lord, you know what? This is when bad Rod, bad Barry. We just said certain names and we didn't even bring it in like saying Moon Knight. This is where we were talking about the Magik.
Yes.
A good amount, a couple of episodes. So that's what I'm thinking in my head. We were talking about Magik. Who's gonna be be doing that? And realize, wait a minute, we're talking about Moon Knight. So again, the lore is right there. It's right there.
To show you how close it is, right? So we just called out a couple of characters that would work really well with Magik and some good storylines. They could even do Inferno 2. You don't remember the Inferno storyline where it was the Goblin Queen? So at this point, Jean Grey's dead. Okay, right. Okay, right.
Thank you. Honestly, I was thinking around that. I was thinking along that line, and all I kept thinking, I was thinking of. I wasn't thinking of Madeline. I was thinking of Jean. So anytime I thought of Jean, I started going to the White Queen, and I'm like, no, that's not Magik. But I'm dead sure there was something magical with Jean. It was Madeline. That's what I was talking about. In my head,
we do Madeline, the Goblin Queen, Inferno storyline. That there is something I think, Magik was there. I believe she was, but you can do an Inferno 2 with Magik. You can even make Magik part of Inferno 2, like the Dark Child takes over. There's an issue with the New Mutants. It's a giant size, not giant size, it's an annual. The art was done by Art Adams, and they end up in Asgard. I can't remember what issue it is, but they end up in Asgard, the New Mutants. And at one point, you got the Enchantress, and she turns around and she removes the Dark Child persona out and manifests it. So you see the Dark Child in its full glory. You see, Illyana's split in two physically. So the art on that is so nice. You got to pick that up. But you can do an Inferno 2. There's a lot of we had Civil War 2. We got Secret War 5, whatever. And they never went back to Inferno. So they can do an Inferno 2 dealing with Limbo invading Earth and really focus on Illyana Rasputin, Magik becoming the Dark Child and really fulfilling that prophecy and see what happens and then how they cap that back and then continue. It would really give the audience, the readers, something fresh. Bring in some of the other people we talked about, like Nightcrawler, Scarlet Witch, Forge, Shaman, Talisman. Let them really come in, bond that universe together, save her, and then move on. But it would show everybody how powerful she is, how underused she is. Like, I think Magik on the New Mutants is like Cyborg when it comes to the Teen Titans or the Titans when it came out. I'm talking, when it was the new Titans where it was Robin and Raven and Kid Flash and it was, George Perez and Marv Wolfman that were doing that run. Cyborg is, when you see him now, they realize that Cyborg is a Justice League level power kind of character, but he was on the Titans. That's the same way I feel about Illyana Magik dealing with, being on the New Mutants. She's too powerful for them. She was too powerful for them from the get-go. She was the one that had their own issue. And the X-Men can deal with a whole Magik aspect that they've never dealt with before. And that would be interesting. So, give me back Goblin Queen. I mean, no one ever dies in Marvel or DC. Bring back Goblin Queen. Let it be Inferno 2. Let the Goblin Queen invade Limbo and then let Illyana have to go and save it as a Sorcerer Supreme of Limbo. And the only way she can do it is unleashing the Dark Child. But unleashing the Dark Child brings out those dark tendencies. Right? How do you bring her back? That's the storyline that I would pick up that storyline and read it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Right. That's all this exciting. You mentioned this character, and I was like, oh wow! And then I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, the more I got excited. I'm like, Now I know they did cast her already in the
Mm-hmm.
New Mutants movie in 2020,
Right.
right? I like the look of the actress that played it, but the actress that played her was the actress had the look, the actress had the character you would expect her to have. Or maybe it's a little bit too much of, and
The rough.
too rough, yeah, too rough. And my couple of things that were cons for me. So the actress is not Russian, from my understanding. The actress that played her is born in the States and she's got Brazilian background. She's not Russian, but she has the look. So I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of it, the New Mutants movie, it's hard. I don't understand why they picked that storyline for the movie. I know it was one of the most popular storylines in the New Mutants run of the comic book, but that was not their origin. Yeah. For our fans, anyone listening, if you watch the movie and go, oh, okay, the movie was okay, or I liked the movie, or I didn't like the movie, whatever your opinion is, we respect that. But understand this, the movie doesn't cover issue number 1. The movie is talking about issue number 21 or issue 26, where it brings in the Demon Bear. The Demon Bear didn't show up until like the early issues in the 20s. You've now skipped 20 plus issues of New Mutants lore that was important to building up the team to that moment. So I thought that was a weird starting off place for the team, for the movie. And as I said, the actress, Anya, she has the look of Illyana, I can imagine, and I liked what she did with the script that she was provided. But if it's me, I'm going to go with someone that's a little bit more, if we want to have black actors and actresses play black characters, then okay, then cast them. And then we do it the same way at times. We don't I don't really go with the gender swap or race swap. Sometimes it's fun to do it and throw it out there as an alternate universe. And I have no problem with that. But if you're going to get with the core character, sometimes you got to be with the core character. So character this important, I'm not going to gender swap or anything like that. And I want someone that's Russian. Das Vidanya.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Right. That's Das Vidanya. So that's my whole spiel there. So we'll get to the part. Do you have any other thoughts there, Rob, before we get into the fan casting and all that stuff?
No. I mean, in reality, like I said, I really like this character. I will agree. Like when Chris Claremont brought this character to the table, it was definitely at that time a very hard left. It was something like you just didn't see before, and it was great that we saw her as a child, and all of a sudden, boom, she's a teenager. Now we have to go for a backstory. Now we have to show the lore of how did this happen. Let the X-Men try to figure this out, as well as understanding the different dynamics of I had a little girl in 7 seconds without not being in my hands. I lost physical contact with the child for 7 seconds. Person is like 7 years old, and how that dynamic is going to work. Not how people are going to start reacting to her. She was a little girl just last week, and now she's she's half, she's a teenager. So I like that dynamic and how that was written in. So it just basically gave you a whole different perspective on reality, on different type of, I'm going to throw a grenade in. Let's see how this works. And I liked it. I personally did like the dynamics of having her, because like basically she's now trying to get used to them because she's been without people for so long.
Yes.
Although she had literally, like you said, she had basically surrounded herself by demons. She had, Storm from another dimension. She even had, a Kitty Pryde-like type individual who was like a half cat, half humanoid. So she had that type of connection but basically she didn't really interact with no human beings per se for like 7 years.
No.
So this is a whole dynamic for her, just trying to change her way, her persona, change herself, and just, AKA, just came to me. She basically was the early version of 7 of 9, trying to become human.
Yes.
That's really what it is. It's like, I'm not a droid anymore. I'm not a Borg droid anymore. I got to integrate and assimilate myself back into human society. How do I do it without taking someone's head off that they got me upset? And I'm just going full blown Magic on you. Ooh, sorry. Right. I can't take you out. It's not your fault. It's no one's fault. Woosha herself out of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the part when I honestly it was always fun just seeing how you seeing stuff from so many different perspectives, all happening at once, and seeing who has a
Absolutely.
dominance action at that point. So yeah, that was
Absolutely.
a great thing. So I mean,
And so much like lore, as you put it, so much lore for a story, right? Like I said, we talked about Limbo, we talked about Belasco,
mhm.
we talked about Storm from a different dimension, White, Dark Beast. She's got that I just saw it there and I lost it. The gem that she's got to put her soul in that helps correct her, or, the
So
medallion,
the Bloodstone.
the bloodstone. Thank you. Right. Her family lineage, you know, it's there's so much, and we even touched on one point. The main thing, as I said, is the heart of the character, her parents.
Hmm.
So keep in mind that
Yeah.
when this comic book came out, I mean, we are in 2023, but when she came out, USSR was, that's where Peter was. That's where they were living. That's where the KGB was around. Things are different now than it was back then. Now, I'll make this really short. The
Hmm.
parents are key. There's certain people I think they're key in X-Men history that don't get enough, shine. So everyone focuses on the Summer family, right? That's Cyclops, that's Havoc,
Yep.
right? Jean Grey. Okay,
Yeah.
let's get back to the Summers family, to the Summers boys, right? Because we
Hmm.
know there's Cyclops, there's Havoc, and then there's Vulcan,
Yep.
okay, who was born later on, outer space, whatever. So the parents, same parents, those parents' genetic material are supposed to make three of the toughest ones that, and then it parlays into Cable later on, right? Okay.
Hmm.
But I think we're missing the point here when you look at the Rasputin family,
That's
right? Okay, mom, dad, great genetic material because three of their kids are mutants. So we know right away, first and foremost, is Colossus. And then
mhm.
second, it comes up Illyana, right?
Yep.
And then they have their brother, who was the cosmonaut who they thought died, but you find out later on that his power developed and he ended up in a different dimension.
Right.
And he comes back, and I can't remember his name right now. Forgive me.
His name is Mikkel.
Mikhail, thank you. And
Mhm.
he comes back with a power and a half, and he's a little bit nuts in the head. But still, here's my other last storyline pitch: the government kidnaps the parents. Well, in Russia they don't say kidnap; they just come by for a visit, and you don't see the parents again. It's a black van, door closes, they're gone. Right? It's the last
Mhm.
ride. But the government would acquire the parents because think about it: same parents have three kids, and all three of your kids are mutants. That's like you play the lotto on a Wednesday, you win the jackpot, 50 million. You go back the following Wednesday, you play the jackpot, you win 50 million. You go back, you play the lotto the following Wednesday. Guess what? You win again, 50 million. You win 50 million 3 weeks in a row every Wednesday.
Someone's watching you. Someone's gonna
Well,
pick you up. Someone's gonna
you
have a
have three
conversation with you.
kids. Look at the odds. You have three kids, and all
What are
three
the odds?
kids are mutants. And
What are
they're
the
not
odds?
low level mutants. It's not like one's born with a third eye. These are all high level. I mean, Illyana's powers alone, sure, it's stepping disc. Okay. So I'll say this as, and she's on different teams. Okay. So she was on the X-Men at one point. She was on the New Mutants, obviously. She
Mhm.
was part of the Hellions, which was, in the Phoenix Five. That's another thing going on there. She had multiple aliases: Dark Child, Light Child, Red Flag in issue number 133, so forth, so forth. Right? Her abilities are psionic shields as her mutant powers, psionic shields, stepping disc, interdimensional teleportation, and time travel. Those are just her. That's her powers. Okay,
Yep.
and that still does a lot. But then let's add the sorcery. So she has astral projection, binding, energy manipulation, exorcism, limbo control, matter manipulation, protection shield spell, summoning, scrying, and then she has her Eldritch armor. And the Eldritch armor gives her superhuman strength, deflects and limits physical and magical attacks. Okay. And then when she has her soul sword, it enhances wielder's power level, disrupts magic energy constructs, and creatures. So she hits Doctor Strange with a soul sword. His cape, the eye of Magdo or whatever, Agamito, the eye, the cape, they gonna feel it. She's a tank.
Yeah, completely.
All right. So at this point, Rod, if you had to adapt this from comic book and everything we've talked about, how would you like to see this adapted? Hit me with the good stuff.
Well, I would actually like a live one. It will have to be a series. Like, we've basically, unbeknownst to everybody, we've really just we didn't scratch the surface. We got a good amount of surface. Like, we're not giving the same, it's scratching, there's a ton more. I mean, there's a truckload. There's a lot of stuff that's layered on her. That can't be done in a movie. Listen to what Barry was just saying about the New Mutant movie. It kind of started off kind of like 20 issues down. And we just got a little something about her. But like you say, we just went through her lore. We went through her stuff. So it has to be, to me, it has to be a series. Give me at least, you have enough story that you have enough for at least 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And we can build from there. Give me 2 seasons. I'm sure we can pull a third, but let's just go with 2 seasons straight, about 10 to 12 episodes each. And that would definitely get us through, the first season would be her origin, have a good chunk while she's inside.
Right. Limbo.
And then come back. And then the second season is basically now the adapting aspect of how she's now trying to assimilate herself back into human lore and how to becoming, how to interact with people in society and stuff like that. Have flashbacks to when she was in Limbo to also give you that balance again of where she was, what she had to endure.
Yep.
What toughened her up while she was there would make her have to rethink. I would have done that there. I can't do that over there. Cause I'm over on this side now. I'm on the Earth realm. I can't be so tough. And that to me would be like season 2, go along that line. Now with all that, I wanted to go with someone. I did think along the line of having someone, again, like Barry was saying, having someone from Russia. I just personally, I couldn't find anybody, just me personally. Maybe my search parameters wasn't tough enough. Right. So please don't kill me at casting directors or anything along that line. I did my best, just me in my, little plastic chair here. I did what I can. But I did find someone that I did like, cause I'm trying to remember if I had her for something else. But I know I did, but I just can't remember what I wanted to have her play. But I wanted to have, Jenna Ortega.
Oh, okay.
Jenna Ortega. Again, you know me, I like to jump and find someone who might have been recently, who's kind of hot, who's making some moves now. Someone who was like, depending on what they did from, within a good time frame that, whatever they had hot from, a little while ago, or someone brand new. Jenna, basically, is anyone catching with all my babbling and my stalling, saying the words Wednesday. So the recent show, Wednesday show, I would like to have Wednesday because Wednesday is already that lore of the mystique, the occult, the, not say black magic, but in the sense, like, when you think of the Atom family, you just think like, okay, we know they're not casting spells, but we know like, whoo, they're right up there, just so close. They're right up there. And again, Jenna Ortega, she did that show wonders. I fell in love with the show after like the first, second episode. I'm like, oh, I'm in. Now I'm like, I can't wait for it to, binge it and watch it and watch it. So now I want to give her the opportunity. She's, dark hair, blonde hair, a little coloring, but she has the face structure to give me that type of, I am focused, I'm solid. I can look cold hearted into your soul and make you shiver. before you realize, I'm sorry, before the soul blade comes and takes out your life. The choice is yours. Choose your
Right.
next words wisely, or this blade will have a conversation with you.
Okay, good call. Good call. Good call. Yeah, all right, good call. I like that, man. That's really, yeah, that's deep. That's deep. Because I can see that. I can see that. Okay. So just like you, I was going with live action adaptation. I was thinking about a movie and I said, okay, there's too much lore. We gotta have a series. But I got a series with stipulations. And once again, would it be a regular TV series? Would it have to be a streaming series? I'd probably have to be a more streaming series. And this is what it is. In my mind, wow, in a perfect world. One, streaming series, and I'll tell you why. Because they have more access to a budget when it comes to certain characters as a regular, TV series. And I'm not knocking on TV series. They have their role, but sometimes the superhero stuff, it's a little bit hard unless they're really going to do it. So MCU, hope you're listening up. Disney Plus, hope you're listening up. So turn around, Magik, the Illyana story, Illyana Rasputin story, as we put it, 2 seasons. Could be possibly 3 or more, right? But definitely start off with 2 seasons. As you said, that first season's got to start in Limbo. So do a flashback, and here's what it is. You got to get the characters, whoever you're casting to be the X-Men for the next couple of years, you have to put it in their contract that they have to show up on this show. It's even if it's a small role. And it's really important to my visual aspect of this. So this is what I'm talking about. You do a flashback with Colossus in the field, Illyana, a little girl. Okay, boom. Move on. Then you do the flashback of, maybe quickly, Illyana gets kidnapped, and there's in the background, you see the X-Men fighting Dr. Doom, just like a quick still. Boom. Okay. Then you turn around and see Illyana getting taken by Belasco. You don't have to show about Shadow Cat or Kitty Pryde in there and doing that. Just see the hand come out, grab her. Now, here's how I want to show time passing, right? Let's say it's 12 episodes, season 1. So from the X-Men point of view, you see the portal open up. Whoever the actress is that you cast, that's going to be Kitty Pryde, she's there. Whoever you cast as Colossus is going to be there. And every episode, show them moving in slow motion at the very beginning of the episode. Slow motion, reaching for the portal. So let's say, you see Belasco's hand come out. He grabs, moves quick, and you just see them start to turn going, no, but don't put no sound effects. But you know what I mean? You got that slow motion turn, just no, boom, it cuts. Now you see Belasco in Limbo with Illyana go through a proper episode at normal time. Beginning of Illyana, episode 2, they turn a little bit more, go through another episode. Episode 3, you see them start to pivot and someone starts to kind of slowly start to reach out their hands, go through that episode. Episode 4, see someone kind of moving bit. So every beginning episode intro, the intro would not be your standard intro. It's going to show whoever it is, even though it only took maybe, a minute to film that sequence. You stretch it out by putting the extreme slow-mo and let that be your opening credits. Illyana, Magik. And you always show the X-Men moving extremely slow, trying to get to the portal. You do season 1. So by the end of season 1, Kitty's hands have now gone through. And at the end of the episode, you finally see Kitty's hands come through.
Pull her out.
Illyana grabs her. She pulls her out. And it stops. Season 2.
As she comes out, and everybody's like...
She comes out.
And they see, who are you?
Right. So visually... Exactly. So picture visually as people watching, you're like, oh, man. Kitty's hands moved a couple more inches. Colossus turned this way. Someone is Wolverine springing forward. This person's, and you really don't have to show all the X-Men. You just need to show Kitty Pryde and Colossus. Really focus on them. Show the face kind of turning slowly. Show the expression. Like really film at normal speed, slow it down, and just show a couple of snippets. Because that way it tells the audience by the time you get near the end of the episode, it's like, oh man, look, Kitty's hands are just going into the portal. Kitty's fingers are just going through the portal. What happened? Kitty's hands are just got through the portal. Okay, it keeps going. Illyana's perspective. Kitty's arms are finally through the portal from the just below the elbow to the forearm, all the way down to her hands are in there. And at the end of the episode, whatever happens, season 1, Illyana sees it and grabs her hands, and then she starts to pull her back. And she pulls her back. And can you imagine how the anticipation would build over 12, 13 episodes? You're seeing it from there. So then it makes you understand how time is passing.
No,
You know,
completely.
how fast it's passing in Limbo
100%.
and how she's aging. And then when she comes out, it's like, Kitty, you saved me. And you're like, Illyana? Right? And like, you're not expecting that. And then you get into season 2. Now, of course, you got to show the actress. And I think that would be a cool aspect, depending how you want to show the age of the actress. Like, you know, she speeds up and, you know, so there's a lot of things to work out, but that's how I see it visually.
Yeah.
Now,
you know what? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
No, I'll definitely add to that in the sense of you have if you have like the first episode, you do a shot where you have maybe like 3 or 4 X-Men's in camera shot. But then the remaining, all you do is you have the camera, you tighten it up, but all you have is that particular angle that you're always just seeing Kitty's arm.
Yeah.
So then you can even save in a sense of cost of having the actor and actress come back for every single one. Right. So you can basically have it from a particular angle that you just keep seeing.
Yes.
You know from the beginning that it's supposed to be Kitty's arm.
Yes.
So then you can save costs and let's say, well, we won't bring back the actress again. You just do the first one, do the, you know, like you said, videotape it, record it just as is, whatever, and you'll slow it down. But all you do going forward, you just have that. Yeah, that would be perfect. And on the way out, because Illyana is not going to remember when she was 7 that it was Kitty that grabbed her. So all she's going to get is when she gets pulled out, she realizes, saying, I see hands. This is my way to get out of here.
Yes, she doesn't know it's Kitty's hands.
She doesn't know it's Kitty's hands. So she just pulls. So when she gets pulled out, she'll be like, because she may not remember who Kitty is at that time.
Right.
They'll look and realizing, well, I know I put you in.
Yes.
You just came out. You should be Illyana, but who are you? And that's when you do a tight shot or wide shot, Colossus looking at her, but he's like saying, oh, snap. You look like a younger version of Mom. But that's how you'll know the expression that.
Right.
That's my kin. That's my blood. You don't look like the person I just saw 7 seconds ago, but all of a sudden you look like Auntie so forth and so. Right. And then you can see the connection right there. And that's when you'll say off of his lips, they say, Illyana, season 1, done.
Season 1, done. Right. So here's my thing. I'm going with a little bit of an older actress because I see this material being a little bit dark, but it's fine. And that's the way. But I found a Russian actress. She's older. But even then the actress Anna, who played her, is in her 30s, right? In the New Mutants. So, you know, my actress is not too far off in age. And you know what? It still works because you can just say, instead of she spent 7 years, she spent maybe 17 years or 15 years in Limbo, right? Okay. So that's how I'm looking at it. So the actress I'm going with her name is Lanka Guri. So Lyanka. Last name is Gryu. So she's a Russian actress. I like her look. She's done a lot of different things, and she's actually done the Russian version of playing a character in there at Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if she speaks English. I'm assuming she does. Because I think she was in other projects too that, you know, were English speaking. But, you know, I like her look. And I think that from what the clips and imagery I've seen of her, like sometimes you see her as a blonde, sometimes you see her as a brunette, redhead, you know, curly hair. She's got the, I like her smile, and I'll explain what I mean by that. As a kid, you'll always have a youngish looking, very big grin smile. And I think that would still go back to her childhood, you know, even though she has dark moments, she's going to be, you know, she's going to light up when she sees hope. She finally has hope. And those are things that she has to transcend. She has to show that even though she's gone through a lot of darkness, she's come out and she still has hope. And makes it more tangible instead of her just coming out and being just grumpy all the time. I'm not saying she'll have grumpy moments, but she has to still be the light of hope because she's known as the light bringer or the light child, even or dark, you know. So she's got to play both worlds. But you know, when I'm seeing other images of her, other clips of her, I've seen her play kind of dark and light at the same time. So that's who I'm going with, is Lanka Guri. So this one is a stretch for me, but I wanted to keep her. She's Russian. I wanted to keep it with that native Russian lore, because if she speaks English, I want her to speak English with a Russian accent. She has to. She ain't gonna talk like she's from New York.
No, completely, because she left with that accent. That accent would be ingrained. She might lose a little bit of it because she's dealing with demons. So regardless of what their language is going to be, like, or what their, not their language, what their tone is going to be, the dialect. Thank you. Yeah.
So that's who I'm going with there, Rod.
Okay, that's not bad. Not bad at all. I like it. I definitely like the story. It I definitely do like the story. It makes your visual aspect of it definitely does make a lot of sense, and it will definitely catch people's attention because you can now verbally say it again, people. You know me and I saying stuff like this. This could be like a 24. It'd be like Keith and Sutherland 24.
Yes.
Everything there's some on one side you see what's going on is moving in in their time frame, but we're knowing their time is regular, but you can see from our perspective it's slow because you're now looking from Limbo's perspective. Yeah, I'm here for like 10 years. It's going to be a while.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
You'll definitely need at least for that one. You'll definitely need at least, even for myself, I would definitely need three different, not 3 seasons, 3 different actresses.
Oh, absolutely. To show the age progression,
the age aggression and ascension and stuff along that line. But definitely that's where I would say it makes sense. I like it.
Thank you. I like your choice too. So, that is it. So we're going to wrap this show up. We've been talking a lot about magic and I love it. I didn't realize we get so deep into it, but it shows you how much lore there is. So any last words, Rod, before we wrap this show up?
You know what? At this point, I will just say that the character Magik has, as you say, a lot of meat, a lot of layers. She can also open up a realm in the sense for young people to be, to associate themselves with. This is the harsh realities of life changes and whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Being from a protective home, a protected environment, and now you just been sent into the realms of demons, and now how that toughen up a person and realizing that she has to go through to find her inner peace and how does she cope with it. I'm sure there are people who be able to relate to it in some particular way and manner.
It would deal a lot with mental illness or mental resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
This is where she would really strive, and Marvel should push her more, especially in this day and age with everything going on. You're right. She's a good character. How to deal with the dark, the light. Mm-hmm. She was raised by demons, pretty much. Let's be real. More so than her parents. Not saying because her parents didn't love her, it's just because she got taken.
Right.
And deal with that. And then also reconnecting, learning how to reconnect, because she's probably built up walls. So reconnect with her brother.
100%.
Reconnect with her parents. I know in the comic book they dealt with it that she kind of just, I don't want to go home because mom and dad, and they were like, well, we want to see her, right? And she couldn't leave Xavier's because mentally she put up a wall, but she got through it. So yeah. You're right. This is the character that would really, I think, would really resonate with a lot of people in this day and age. Young people, they're going through a lot of changes, and even more adults. But and handling that, I agree with it. She would really be that beacon to show how to go through the hardships and deal with it. And if they have it, if the storylines are written a good way, and even they bring on, let's say, a psychiatrist to look at some of the storylines and add little points here and there, it would give that much more. Like, this is where Marvel, DC, you could, I'm not DC, Disney, Marvel. You could shine. Disney, yeah. Marvel, you can shine with Magik, and no pun intended, with Illyana Rasputin. I think an actress, if she really understood the backstory of the character, would say, oh, because actors always want to get play a character that has multiple facets.
Yep.
And she's not the damsel in distress, because I said she got kidnapped and then became the Sorcerer Supreme of Limbo. So she went from, prey to hunter, in a sense.
100%.
All right, we're going to wrap this episode up. I know thank you everyone for tuning in. I almost forgot to support the book. So please go and check out our buddies over at Check Swings and tell Trevor we said hi, and check out anyone, if that's in Montreal, and anyone here in Ontario, make your way out to Kitchener, head out to Wow Comics, tell Wes and the rest of the guys we said hi, support the books. It gives us something to talk about. On that note, this is Barry 3D. I'm here with my cousin,
Rod C.
Rod C. There you go. And this whole world was started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. It's all about magic. It's all about magic. All right, Dr. Strange. All right, cool. We out.
Smoke bomb.